Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, YouTubers. This is Jerry Diamond, How to Get Out of Babylon. Thoughts of eternity on my mind, and death, and my mom died this weekend, and a friend passed away, and there's a poem, and this is going to be in this kind of a series. I thought about starting a series, doing a series, because I started, one day I prayed, what would you have me to say to the people out there, your people, your sheep? And the phrase, another time, another place came to me. And that set me off on 100 different, directions. I ended up talking about the puddle glow, the silver chair, There are no accidents. Aslan is our guide. And, so right now, another time, another place, England, big game there was cricket, and there's a very famous cricketer named Charles T. Studd, C.T. Studd. And I'm not going to go into his biography because it would probably just bore everyone to death. But he became a believer, a Christian, and then for about 6 years he was, just kind of backsliding and playing, cricket and champion, and he captained the English team, played in for a cup, whatever, like Wimbledon, against Australia. They lost, but then he toured Australia and they won the cup back, and blah, 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 But in the course of that, he came to understand that, what's all that fame worth? What's it worth? He wrote a poem, and I'm not going to read the whole thing because, again, it would probably just bore you and put you to sleep as well as put me to sleep, as tired as I am. But only one life. Look it up. Read it. I'm just going to read the first verse. Only one life, by C.T. Studd. Two little lines I heard one day, traveling along life's busy way, bringing conviction to my heart, and from my mind would not depart. Only one life, 'twill soon be past. Only what's done for Christ will last. So, I've been I've been committed to an ideal, an idea. I listened to a thing just the other day, kind of on the equinox, and I mentioned it before, but there's a quote by Henry David Thoreau, and build your castles in the air. That's where they belong. Just put foundations under them. Kind of a whatever. But I do believe that, in a sense, that's right. In this, with the understanding that, that's pretty much, we've been told to live for another world, for a kingdom that we can't see, a kingdom that he can't yet see, with what God to us has loaned, It's from my poem, I guess. So, anyway, that's what we're commanded to do. Why was Abraham a friend of God? Why are there so many millions of people that respect Abraham? They will go on and on about, bless you in the name of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Abraham is my father in the faith. Is he? I've said that before. When Yahweh tells you to do something, do you do it immediately? Or do you give excuses and prevaricate and, just hesitate and haw and hem and blah, 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 blah. You don't really do it. Are you obedient or are you not obedient? And are you looking for a city whose builder and maker is Yah, the Most High? Are you doing that? Or are you living for this world? You know, Jim Elliot, missionary to the Auca Indians in the Amazon. They killed him on the tip of the spear. Movie about him, and of course, Gates of Splendor, and Through Gates of Splendor, and Under the Shadow of the Almighty, written by his wife, Elizabeth Elliot. Great woman, awesome woman, you know. And she went back and witnessed to the same people that murdered her husband. But he had a saying that crystallized the gospel. And if it were possible, it makes a phrase from Messiah even simpler. You know, he is no fool who gives what he cannot keep to gain what he cannot lose. Only one life. 'Twill soon be past. Only what's done for Christ will last. You know, he that seeks to save his life shall lose it. If you want to call Jesus, Yeshua, however you want to call him, his name, your Messiah, your Savior, the one you call Lord, you know, God, Elohim, if you want to call him a liar, then, you know, live like a prepper and like a survivalist. If you seek to lose your life, to save your life, you will lose it. That's what he said. Not my words. You know, just that's what he said. So, and then finish that part out. He that seeks to lose his life for my sake shall find it. We should be seeking to put to death the old man, to lay down our lives for our friends. Greater love hath no man than this, that he lay down his life, you know, for a friend. Even greater for a stranger. Men do it in warfare all the time. They're heroes. How many Christians you see going out and deliberately trying to save somebody's life at the risk of their own? That's true Christianity. That's, you know, altruism. Look it up. That's disinterested benevolence. That is doing good, doing benevolence at the risk of or deliberately at your own cost. So, C.T. Studd, you know, he went off as a missionary to China and India and whatnot, but then he became concerned about Africa, and he started the Heart of Africa mission. And, you know, and this has been a phrase that just rang true to me. You know, and I hear things and I'm like, that's what I want to do. That's where I want to be, you know. Ender's Game, speaker for the dead. Yeah, well, that's what I am, a speaker for the dead. They just haven't died yet. Well, no, that's stupid. I'm going to be a speaker for the living. Speak benedictions, good things over people. May you have shelter. May you have water. May you have the capability of purifying water. May you be hidden when you need to be hidden. May the angels guard you and protect you and actually show themselves to your enemy if necessary. You know, it happened in South Africa with the Boers, the Voortrekkers. And it blows me away that after I knew that story from 20 years ago, 470 ballpark men and some women. One man denied that. I said, no, the accounts say there was a woman there. She was carrying ammunition. And they went out and they were surrounded by 20,000 Zulus. They were out to kill them. 3 assaults. They were repelled. Killed a lot of Zulus. They were out of ammunition. And the 3rd attack, they broke and ran. Bunny Trail back up. You know, they fasted and prayed and dedicated that day to Yahweh. I mean, they did this for several days. They held services. They knew they were going to be attacked. You know, they held services and they said, if we survive this endeavor, we shall forever dedicate this place, this time, you know, in memorial of this deliverance. So all these years later, one day I was sitting down, I was going to redo it and talking about, you know, and I was, oh yeah, I read that, you know, and it was like, learn something new. I heard, you know, learn something new, and I started studying, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I never knew. Those guys did not go out and just happen to get surrounded by 20,000 Zulus. They had been repeatedly attacked, and they knew that their entire existence, their entire colony, their entire group of people, their whole nation was going to be chewed up, spit out, and pooped out over a period of time if they did not do something. They didn't just happen to get surrounded by 20,000 Zulus. They went out looking. 474 men and a few women went out looking for those 20,000 Zulus. Yeah. Faith in the Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel. They had their time with Goliath. So, bunny trail, but a pretty cool one. But my foot, sorry. So the idea of deliverance from, in the face of overwhelming odds, is going to happen. You know, the Boers with the Zulus, and I believe that there's going to be a circular region that's going to be surrounded, and there's going to be a border there, and on that side of the border is going to be death, destruction, pestilence, anarchy, chaos, war, famine, disease, you know, and inside, you know, it's going to be protected. Physically by rivers, geographically by terrain, demographically by the people. Because what does Isaiah 4:1, Isaiah 4 say, you know? I'll read it, since you don't know what I'm talking about. You know, there will be deliverance. You know, I believe that, no question. And KJV light, not stuff. So, you know, I believe there will be a time that it will be so desperate. And am I extrapolating? Am I trying to blow smoke? Am I trying to be, you know, exaggerating? Am I trying to be melodramatic? No, I'm just telling you what Scripture says. What did Messiah say? If it weren't for the sake of the elect, no flesh would be saved. You know, if it weren't that those days would be shortened, no flesh would be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days will be shortened. That's pretty clear. You know. So, now, when you read a passage, you need to read it in context. This is 6 verses. But you got to read chapter 3, or chapter 4 makes no sense. Chapter 3 is about the daughters of Jerusalem. They're uppity, they're proud, they're haughty. Well, heck, I'd say this is time to read it. I'll give children, verse 4, to be their princes, and babes shall rule over them. And the people shall be oppressed, everyone by another, and everyone by his neighbor. The child shall behave himself proudly against the ancient. Oh, are these the days we're in? I mean, at least in my family. Do I look like the Mormon patriarch there, the guy that founded the whole company? Came there 30 years ago. I see him in the bank, and he goes, "Man, you're looking old." I'm like, thanks a lot, you know. I'm like 30 years younger than him. He's still got a black beard and black hair, you know. Polygamy must be good for a guy. Oh, shut up. Anyway. But But when a man, children doing dishonor to their forebears, and the base against the honorable. When a man shall take hold of his brother of the house of his father, saying, Thou hast clothing, be thou our ruler. Let this ruin be under thy hand. In that day shall he swear, saying, I will not be a healer, for in my house is neither bread nor clothing. Make me not a ruler of the people. Jerusalem is ruined, and Judah is fallen, because their tongue and their doings are against Yahweh, to provoke the eyes of his glory. The show of their countenance doth witness against them, and they declare their sin as Sodom, they hide it not. Woe unto their soul, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves. Say ye to the righteous, that it shall be well with him, for they shall eat the fruit of their doings. Woe unto the wicked, it shall be ill with him, for the reward of his hand shall be given him. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the ways of thy paths. Yahweh stands up to plead, and stands to judge the people. Yahweh will enter into judgment with the ancients of his people and the princes thereof, for ye have eaten up the vineyard, the spoil of the poor is in your houses. What mean ye that ye beat my people to pieces, and grind the faces of the poor? Saith Yahweh Elohim of hosts. Moreover, Yahweh saith, because the daughters of Jerusalem are haughty, the daughters of Zion are haughty, and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet. Therefore Yahweh will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and Yahweh will uncover their secret parts. In that day Yahweh will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet, and their cauls and their round tires like the moon, the chains and the bracelets and the mufflers, the scarves, the bonnets and the ornaments of their legs, and their headbands, the tablets and the earrings, the rings and nose jewels and belly button rings, the changeable suits of apparel, and the mantles and the wimples, and the crisping pins, and the glasses, and the fine linen, and the hoods, and the veils. And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell there shall be stink, and instead of a girdle a rent, and instead of well-set hair baldness, and instead of a stomacher a girding of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty. Thy men, this is the upshot of all these uppity women, thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war. And her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. This is what comes of uppity women, or whatever. Read the chapter, that's what it says. Proud bangles and bracelets and jewelry and earrings and calls and mufflers, scarves and wrappings, and that's what happens. And then because of that, what happens? Did you remember? Instead of girdle or rent, well-set hair, baldness, instead of a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war. A lot of the men are going to die. Men always take the biggest hit in warfare. So what then happens? Isaiah 4:1, in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, We will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel, only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. Now, that wasn't what I always intend to say, but as long as I'm here, I'm going to talk about it. This is what I'm getting at. In that day, before I do, let me just point out a little, if you believe Father has a sense of humor. In that day, 7 women shall take hold on one man. Take hold. Be strong, become strong, be firm, grow firm, get hard, grow hard, make strong, restore, strengthen, encourage, to make rigid. So anyway, all right, I think that's just a little funny. Go back to KJV. Okay, Now, here's where I wanted to get to. Assault, a fortress, surrounded, attacked on all sides. In that day shall the branch of Yahweh be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for them that are escaped of Israel, that got out in time. And it shall come to pass that he that is left in Zion, and he that remaineth in Jerusalem, shall be called holy, even every one that is written among the living in Jerusalem. City of peace. Where is the city of peace? Where are peaceable people gathering? When Yahweh shall have washed away the filth. This is in Isaiah 4. Is it not connecting to the previous chapter? When the Yahweh shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning. And here's the two verses. 4, 5, 6. Remember that. 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6. Isaiah 4, verses 5. Isaiah 4, verses 5 and 6. Okay? 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6. Say that. Verse 5. And Yahweh will create upon every dwelling place of Mount Zion and upon her assemblies a cloud and smoke by day, and the shining of a flaming fire by night, for upon all the glory shall be a defense. And there shall be a tabernacle for a shadow in the daytime from the heat, and for a place of refuge, and for a covert from storm and from rain. There will be a safe place. That's it. As far as I'm concerned, it's the Ozark Plateau anthem, you know. There will be a place that is safe and warm. Healing, water, shelter from the storm. And when the Father gave that to me, I didn't know anything about, rumors, but I had to study the Grand Solar Minimum. There's coming storm, really bad storm. Hail weighing 7,500 pounds. Wow. So it's kind of divine heating and air conditioning. But when the Boers were surrounded by 20,000 Zulus out of ammunition, and they charged, and suddenly they broke and ran. And later they captured some, and they said, why did you run? Because of those huge white warriors with you. They saw angels and they ran. So anyway, there it is. So CT Stud, I want to go back to that because this is what's going to happen. I'm telling you, this is where we're at. This is what I've been, seeing and planning for a lot of years, 20 years and better, really. Well, I read CT Stud, 77, and just went, that really rings true. That's really good. And then, of course, 1980, from that time on, when I had a sight of a bunch of tents in a pasture, that was it. That's all I needed. Some people have all these dreams and visions, and they wake up with, sheet-soaking sweat nightmares every night from nuclear things and this and that and the other thing, and invading hordes of armies, and, I don't have those kind of dreams. I'd be insane in a nut house if I did. I had a picture, and I just knew these people in the tents needed help. I didn't see nobody, didn't see no dogs, cats, smoke, nothing moving. Just picture some tents, and I knew that they needed help. And someday I would be there, or if I didn't help them, they would die. So CT Stud, this is the opportunity we have. On the border there, at the border, there will be, as Pastor Joe Fox said, some of my long outside devastation, anarchy, chaos, pestilence, famine, war, sword, death, destruction. Inside good, outside bad. Yeah. Yep. Inside good, outside bad. So there's going to be a border there. It's going to be heaven in here and hell out there. I had a guy move here and said, where I live right now, it's hell. And where you're at, it's heaven. And we helped him move. We actually loaded him up, everything. What a nightmare. But we did it, Anyway, we got him here. Older guy, older couple. Some wish to live within the sound of church or chapel bell. I want to run a rescue shop within a yard of hell. Come help.